what we're gonna do, we're gonna go through the information, and like I say, today is just gonna be an overview, so I'm not gonna dive real deep into nothing real technical. But after we go through the information, and I tell you what the homework is, if you guys have any questions, and I'll go through your questions. All right, it's 9 p.m. Central. Let's go ahead and get it cracking. All right. Welcome to Government Contracting 101. I'm your instructor, Brian Clendenin. And as you guys know, this is my very first time ever going live. And so hopefully I do a good job and I, relay the message that I'm trying to relate. All right. Today we're gonna have an overview of government contracting, and then we're gonna talk about the different types of government entities and the contracting opportunities that they have. Then from there, we're going to go over how the government contracting changed my life personally. And then from there, we're going to go to the two strategies to approach government contracting and the pros and cons. And of course, that's just something that I've examined myself and came up with. After that, we're going to go over the common reasons I see people that don't have success, or the common reasons why they're not having success. So I'm going to go over that, and maybe you guys can correct that for yourselves if you do notice that in yourself, And then after that, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of homework, but it's going to be, some nice homework. It's not going to be nothing that's going to drag you down. Alrighty. So, overview of government contracting. Um, the U.S. government is the biggest purchaser in the world. They purchase over $7.9 trillion worth of services and goods. And I want to make sure that you guys get your piece of the pie. And that's not just here in the United States. The U.S. government purchases all over the world. So, they all over in other countries, hiring janitors and hiring interpreters and different things of different nature. Um, right here are a few of those agencies. I actually put a red dot next to the ones that I know for 100% certain that put out contracts for courier services. Now, of course, I'm going to talk about government contracting all together, but of course, my specialty is in trucking, logistics, pretty much anything logistics from freight broker and trucker and courier services. That's what I specialize in, and that's actually how I got into government contracting. But I put a red dot next to these different agencies that I know put out contracts for courier services. So, of course, we have the Department of Health and Human Services, which that's where most of you guys, where they're going to govern it. They're going to govern pretty much all of your medical courier contracts and things of that nature. Also, we got the Department of Defense. Department of Defense, of course, do a lot of military freight. Those are usually going to be more for semi trucks. I haven't personally seen any contracts for Department of Defense that were for anything, let's say, for like a car or a Sprinter van. They might have it. I just haven't seen it. Most of the ones that I know has always been two-man operations in a semi truck. We have Department of Veteran Affairs. I actually have people signing up with them at this very moment. They do a little bit of everything. Mostly, they're going to do your courier services. They're going to do, of course, picking up veterans and taking them to the hospital. They have they have a lot with veteran Department of Veteran Affairs. I almost can't think of what they don't have, to be honest. Um, Department of Agriculture, that's where you need to go if you're in a semi truck and you're doing a lot of flatbed. Department of Agriculture does a lot of, let's say, lawn service, like moving sod and moving wood, moving fences, cutting down trees, different things of that nature. So that's where you're going to find your Department of Agriculture. Then we have Department of Education. They have a lot of mail. So those are going to be your school districts. A lot of people don't know that we have contracts right in our backyard that's going to be at our school districts. And a lot of people are actually looking over those. But when it comes to the courier contracts with the school districts, 9 times out of 10, it's either going to be moving mail or it's going to be box trucks, schools needing, yeah, somebody put passenger contracts, schools needing, because they actually just saw a contract for a school that needed, that was outsourcing for passenger contracts. But they also have the contracts for the school delivering the food for the lunch. As well, Department of Homeland Defense and Department of Transportation. Those are the ones you're gonna need your DBE certification for. They have contracts all the time. Most of the time, they're going to be for your transit systems. But those are the ones that I specifically see a lot of carrier and transportation contracts for. All right, let's go to the next slide. Over 200 agencies in the government, and 108 of those agencies on the USspending.gov has a budget. And so, out of these agencies, let's just say, purchases service and good across the board. It really don't matter what kind of business that you in, whatever kind of business that you in, or what kind of side business, whatever you do. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a government contract for it. The government has over 2,000 different services that they purchase. So these are just a few that I felt like maybe some of these people might be inside of the chat, but it's IT services. Somebody just asked about IT services or computer services, software, whatever. So the government, of course, does IT services where they purchase IT services, transportation and logistics, professional consulting, food services. If you have a catering business, you definitely should be jumping on government contracting, and you should also be tapping into your local events in your area, because your local events are the ones that's going to put out the contracts for the catering. And I'm actually going to or I got a scenario. I'm going to talk about the food services, temporary staffing, printing and publishing, janitorial, landscaping. I live right outside of a park, and there is landscaping going on out there all the time. And even I went out there one time and I wanted to talk to the head foreman, and they told me how they got the contract with the city. But I've gotten contracts with the city as well. I just, when I meet somebody outside and I know they're doing a government contract, I like to talk to them. He's not freezing for me. Oh, it's freezing? You keep freezing. Da 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 da. You need a special certification. Is it got like a lag inside of it? No, no, no froze. Leave and come back. Oh, okay. It just probably just cutting out. Okay. Well, as long as you guys are still here with me. Okay. For the most part, most people saying no. Okay, that's good. All right. Um, but of course, we have a whole lot of other services. I'm actually going to show you different contracts that I actually just found today. Um, you know, these contracts really aren't hard to find. You just got to have the know-how of how to find them. So no matter what you in, I almost really kind of believe that, even, I found a contract today even for a barber, cosmetology contracts. And so I almost feel like any industry that you are in, you should be starting a LLC on the side and be looking for contracts in your area, in your own backyard. Um, of course, some of these contracts I've done myself. Actually, of course, we know that I specialize in logistics, but I have opened myself up to just diving into other contracts. I've done power washing contracts. I've done janitorial contracts. I've done pest control, and I've done debris pickup. Those are pretty much easy contracts that you're gonna. I want to say most everywhere is gonna have those kind of contracts, especially the debris contracts. What about mobile notary? I've seen mobile notary. The last time I saw a mobile notary contract, it was up in Connecticut. But I know most definitely they do need mobile notaries. Actually, at this very moment, I have a contract, but it's not for a mobile notary. It's for a process server. So and I'm gonna talk about how I actually got the contract for the process server contract as well. So but no matter what you do or whatever side business you have, I feel like you should be getting your LLC and you should be getting into a government contract. Even if it was just on the side, and if you're doing it just maybe once or twice a year, that can just be extra money that you can be making. Um, Now this is it's actually I actually found all these contracts that I'm about to get ready to show you guys. I found those contracts today. I just wanted to find a few contracts just to show you guys that these contracts are out here. And of course, this is a medical courier, but this is for the Department of Veteran Affairs. Usually, when they put out their contracts, well, actually, usually their contracts are inside of what they call IDIQ contracts. But whenever they can't get nobody to do it inside of those, they'll go ahead and post them on SAM. And this is for a courier contract that's on SAM.gov right now, but specifically for this contract, it is a veteran set aside contract. Most of the time for the VA, their contracts will be veteran set aside contracts, and if they can't get a veteran owned company to do it after a while, they just kind of open it up to anybody. Any phlebotomy contracts. I haven't actually seen a contract for phlebotomy, but I'm pretty sure if I was to go and actually look for one, I'm pretty sure I'll find one. Um, you know. But let's go to the next one. Public health nursing. And I actually found this contract just because I know a lot of nurses, and I don't feel like nurses know that there are contracts out there available for them. And the reason that I wanted to show you guys this one specifically is because I've seen a lot of nursing contracts that go 2 and 3 and 4 rounds and nobody's answering them. So if you're a nurse or you know a nurse, you might want to tell that nurse to go ahead and start their own little side business of being a nurse, and that they can actually get on these contracts. I want to see, is it all the way inside of the screen? So, um, most of the time when I do see these nursing contracts, they are contracts where they are, let's say they're looking for a company to reach out and bring on more nurses. So I guess that would be like a temporary services company that they're looking for. But I'm steady seeing these nursing contracts go unanswered. So if you're a nurse or you know a nurse, you might really want to tap into government contracting because they got it out here for you and you're not tapping into it. How much is your course for trucking dispatch? I don't do trucking. I don't have a course for trucking dispatch. I can almost just tell you what that is. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't even sell you that information. But it's because I think it's just it's easy. But or you could probably really find that on YouTube all day, to be honest. Trinity Metro. This is actually the transit system in Fort Worth, Texas. I just want to let you guys know that your transit systems, no matter what city you in, if you have a public transit system, they're probably governed by the Department of Transportation, and they do be having contracts as well. As you see, this one right here, they have just different contracts. They have contracts for elevator inspector services, vehicle wrap and installation. They have contracts for mechanics, so claim and administrative services, parking lot stripping services, engine and transmission rebuilds. So that's another, like I say, another field that a lot of people overlook. There are contracts for mechanics, so there's contracts almost for anybody. So if you're a diesel technician or if you know any kind of technician, there are contracts out there for them. I just got my LLC looking for info for carrier USPS contracts. I'm looking. I mean, I talk about that as well. I talk about that as well, and I actually go over USPS contracts inside of A2Z Training Ultra. You say you late. You ain't too late, man. You still early enough to get some information. I'm just kind of just doing the overview. Today we just doing the overview. I'm not diving into too much technical stuff. I really I really wanted just to see how many people would show up and how many people was really interested in it. And since I see that people are showing up and people are interested, I will be doing a day two. But back on subject, Trinity Metro, make sure that you guys go to your local transit system. They have contracts there as well too. Um, Arizona School District, your schools have these contracts. Like I said before, um, if your school have an ISD at the end of it, they have contracts. Sometimes you have to dig a little bit to find them. Sometimes you don't have to dig a little bit. Sometimes the contracts are right there in your face. But your local school districts do have contracts. I'm saying this because a lot of the time when I do speak to people, and some people are already dabbling into government contracts, the schools are on sam.gov. No, not for the most part. Most of the time, you actually have to reach out to your school or actually go to their website and type in procurement. And there are a lot of contracts right in people's backyards. And most of the time, when I do talk to people, they telling me that they're not having success on sam.gov. And and I always ask them, what about your local hospitals, what about your local school district? And before you sometimes you should, before trying to go too big, you should try to do the contract that's in your right in your own backyard. The people, the agencies in your area need to know who your business who your business is, because like in a city, especially like Dallas, and Dallas is a big city, man. Wow, we have Dallas, we have Mesquite, we have Garland, we have Forney, we have McKinney, all these little sub cities. Every last one of these cities have their own procurement process, their own contracts. So even the city, wherever city that you're in, don't count out looking for the cities and the ISDs around you as well. Um, now this one right here, as you see, it says second call. It's a courier service for district laboratory. Now this is in Florida. I don't know if you can see the person's name, but it says St. John's River Water Management District. It says second call, and I know I've seen that contract, and I know a lot of people in Florida that have said that they can't find contracts, and it doesn't take me long. For some odd reason, I can go find them fast. But like I know the information, so I ain't gonna say for some odd reason. But sometimes it's just knowing what to look for. And there's a contract out in Florida that hasn't been serviced yet, and it's the second time that they actually made this contract available. And I want to say, what's the dates on it? Well, the due date on this one is the 7th. So in 3 more days, if they haven't got anybody to reply to it, they'll probably mess around and put that contract right back out again. Check YouTube for free dispatch. Yeah, just check YouTube for free dispatcher, man. Like, I mean, I could make a program for dispatching and give it to you guys for free. But to be honest, the reason why I've never put a dispatching program out is because I honestly don't like dispatchers. They be blowing my phone up every day. They call at me all the time. I've actually had a few people. Not saying that um, everybody's dispatching company is a scam, but I've had some people to sign up with dispatch companies to get scammed. So, I'm very particular about a dispatching company I deal with, and I don't teach the information, but it's really easy to do. Anybody can start a dispatching service. Let's go to the next one. Public purchasing. This is for Chicago public schools. So, I Chicago public schools, I tend to see a lot of contracts up there. So, if you're in Chicago, you need to tap into your school district, into your ISDs. There's contracts there. If you don't know how to do the contracts there, just stay tapping into me. I'm going to be giving you the information on how to do it. Just after a few sessions, at least you'll know the basic information on where you should be able to go into your local schools and know how to do the proposals and get contracts in your local area. But yeah, they got a just different kind of contracts there. Uh, what is this one? This contract is for. This is actually the contract for a barber. Like I say, there's contracts for everything. If you are a barber, don't think that there isn't government contracts out there for you. This is actually a youth school for boys. They got a contract that's actually open right now, and they're looking for a barber. And usually, the contracts that are looking for a barber, they are usually youth schools, or there are schools like homeless shelters and things of that nature. They usually have those contracts, and not just barbers, cosmetologists as well. So if you do hair, if you braid hair, they do have those contracts for you to go off to like the homeless shelters and the foster homes, and because those kids need their hair done, and so they do actually post contracts for that. And a whole lot of other contracts as well. They have contracts for coaching. They might have basketball teams, cheerleading teams, or whatever, and they need coaches. I see a lot of those. But I wanted to make sure that I put this contract up, just because I just want to let people know what opportunities are actually out there. This is another one for Mansfield Independent School District. I put a lot of school districts up here because I want to let people know, quit sleeping on these school contracts. What site is this? These are just different sites. This isn't one specific site. As you see, this is on MISD, and this is actually just, if you're looking for any procurement board, procurement office, all you got to do is type in the city, county, or whatever you're looking for, and then look up, then Google. Let's just say this is Mansfield. You would just look up Mansfield Independent School District Procurement Department, and then from there you'll be able to find it. But like I said in the beginning of the video, sometimes you got to look up procurement. Sometimes it might be purchasing or acquisitions. It's just key terms that you got to know. But or you might just have to start, making phone calls, you know. But they have a lot of different contracts as well. As you see right here for the independent for Mansfield, they got a contract right here for restaurants and catering services. So it's a wide range of contracts that they have. This is actually the second one for a school district that I seen something about an elevator and lift inspection. So I guess they need that a lot. Contracted professional development services, fundamental services, technology software. Somebody just asked me about IT. Right there, I see technology software contract going on right now, and in Mansfield ISD, and I cropped it, but and all of the contracts that I posted, they are available like right now. So if for that person who was looking for a IT contract, if you go to MISD, you might want to go check them out. All right, Fournier ISD. This is another school district. Like I said, I was just looking up a lot of different school districts. Do you know if there's hard to get international contracts? To be honest, I've never really looked for international contracts. It's almost like people don't know the contract that's in their backyard. On the state level, federal level, we can't even start to look at international if people don't even know what's in their backyard. All these government. Yes, these are all yeah, this is government contracting, and today is just an overview. So we just going over a quick overview today. I'm not diving into anything specific today. But next class we're gonna get down into it next class, and you're gonna really need your pen and paper for this class, and I'm gonna try to make sure that it's not boring, but sometimes to get to the money you got to do the boring stuff, you know what I mean? So you know Galveston ISD. I wanted to post this one because I had a lot of people asking me about janitorial service contracts, and down in Galveston, for those who are in Texas, you know what Galveston at. They have a contract right now for janitorial service, so you might actually want to jump in on that if you into janitorial services. This one actually closes February the 20th, so um, check out Galveston County. Now, where do we find these contracts? We find these contracts on what they call procurement boards. We have procurement boards on the federal level, the state level, and the local level. I don't know if you can see that over. Can you see that over there? My big head in the way. So you have the procurement boards on the federal, state, and local level. On the federal level, we have sam.gov. most people should know about SAM.gov by now. If you don't know, SAM.gov is where you're going to find a lot of federal contracts. Um, as well, you can find federal contracts direct from that department or that agency. So, of course, the VA, FEMA, DOD, Department of Agriculture, Health and Human Services. Each one of those departments have their own procurement board, and they actually have their contracts there. Now, I would say for the Health and Human Services, they more of govern the contracts because usually they let the hospitals or the clinics actually kind of handle their own contracts. But sometimes they have contracts on the federal and state level as well. Um, Now, of course, every state has their own procurement board from Texas, California, Georgia. Every state has their own procurement board. And like I said at the beginning of the video, if you're looking for your state procurement board and you don't know, you can just go to mygovpal.com and go to the state tab. And on the state tab, you should be able to click on your very state and find your state's procurement board. And then the local, you're going to find contracts from your city, your county, your transit system, your hospitals, your school districts, and also the private businesses that are doing contracts um, on the federal level or state level as well. Now, when I say private businesses, you have companies, Walmart, the Targets, the Ulines, all these are private companies, and they as well have their own procurement process. They bring on suppliers, and what's the website again? MyGovPal. So that's right here. I don't know if you can see it. MyGovPal.com. And yeah, my big head probably was in the way, but MyGovPal.com. But private companies have their own procurement as well. So any major company is most likely going to have contracts. So your AutoZones, your O'Reillys, they have their own. You can sign up with them as vendors, and they really love it when you have a set aside contract because of course we know that they get their kickbacks and when they go into contracts, and it's really beneficial for them to have partnerships with companies that have set aside contracts. Now, boom, IDIQ contracts, of course, FEMA, VA, DOD, USPS. These are indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contracts. Hopefully, I said that right. But FEMA, VA, DOD, and USPS have these kind of contracts. I'm pretty sure they probably have those contracts other places. These are just the ones that I know just off the back. Now, what these contracts do is that these contracts aren't just one specific contract. These contracts are more like they bring you on and the contract can last a year. So that's kind of like for the people that are signing up with FEMA right now, those that signing up with FEMA is what they would call an IDIQ contract because it's more about contracting for a specific amount of time. And during that time, they really don't know how much service they're going to use you for, but they're definitely going to use you. They might use you a lot, they might use you a little, but they're definitely going to use you. So, of course, FEMA, when the disasters happen, that's when FEMA start using you a lot. Of course, for the ones that signing up, in July, that's when FEMA really get to kicking up, and then it's going to be from July to July. The VA, if you're already inside the A2Z Train, matter of fact, if you're already inside the A2Z Training Ultra, I've already showed you how to sign up at all four of these places already. But FEMA is signing up right now, VA signing up right now, DOD is actually signing up military freight, but with DOD, you have to have an authority, and it has to be have been active for 3 years consistently with no breaks in between, and that's the thing about DOD. As far as in getting military freight, that is very profitable. That's probably gonna be about the best freight you're gonna find is DOD. But like I say, your authority has to be 3 years old, and it couldn't have any breaks in between. And then from there we got USPS. USPS is actually how I even stumbled into government contracting. My very first um You probably heard me say this before. My very first subcontract was a subcontract with USPS. After working with that guy for a year, I turned around and I actually got my very first primary contract with USPS, and that was actually my introductory to government contracting. You signed up Friday. Well, welcome aboard then. I'd love to have you. All right, let's go to the next. How government contracting changed my life. I went over the formal stuff. I just want to talk to you guys about the contracts and just different opportunities. Matter of fact, before I even talk about this, there's other opportunities in government contracting. I just went over some service information, but there are contracts with the government for even buying products. So if you want to get into selling products to the government, they have that as well. The GSA, they have their program they have right now. I made a video about that here on TikTok not too long ago. Of course, you can middleman. I'm actually going to talk about middleman and in just a second, pros and cons of it. But the government do have other opportunities. They have such a vast amount of opportunities. And even locally, they are buying merchandise. Everything that's in here, the government buys. Government buys TVs. They buy dressers. They buy pen, paper. They buy headphones. They buy phones. They buy computers, tissue. They buy everything. And so I'll dabble in that as well along inside of the course. But there's a huge amount of opportunity with the government. So how government contracting changed my life. Man, to be honest, it actually made my business very stable. If you know anything about trucking, trucking can be ups and downs. You got to know the seasons. Right now in trucking is January, so we know trucking is probably slow. But the thing about when you have a solid government contract that lasts a long time, it just stabilizes your business. And then not only did it stabilize my business, but after really knowing how to do government contracting, how does government contracting work, it even went over into the private business, doing business with other businesses and subcontracting and developing partnerships and long lasting partnerships as well. Partnerships that have turned into friendships because I actually met a couple people that now we go out on trips and everything with each other because we've just developed just a brotherhood of just knowing each other through business, and but not only that, for my other friends that are in the business, I've been able to help them get government contracts as well. So, you know, I talk about government contracting so much with them. Whatever they say they want to do, just like I made the video about my friend that's in the real estate. The very first thing I said was, "Oh man, yeah, when you start that construction company, there's probably a government contract for it. Let's go look for this government contract. Let me help you out through the paperwork." So, you know, it's it's a it's an asset. Intellectual property is what it's called. It's intellectual property just to even just know how to do this. And, you can help out yourself, help out the people that you know with their businesses as well. But government contracting, it really changed my life for the better, to be honest. When I first got into trucking, when I became a truck driver, I really became a truck driver just to get away from the city. Y'all know I'm from South Dallas. I was living in the hood. I became a truck driver just to get away because things was getting heated at the time. So I became a truck driver after driving over the road, coming back, buying my own truck. That in itself already changed my life. And then going in from that to starting my own business to getting into government contracting, I didn't know that day that I had left the city to go get my CDL, that it would turn into me right now going live talking about government contracting. You know what I mean? So yeah, it changed my life a lot. So, and if it did me, it can do the same thing for you. Um, I have a GSA contract, but would like to go for RFPs on sound. I struggle with RFP response. Oh, um, the thing about responding to contracts or solicitations is reading the solicitation. And I know that the solicitation can be thick, but if you have just a overall understanding of contracting, what you need to be looking for as far as in the scope of work, the time, the place of work. You know exactly your market, like your market analysis or your cost of operation of the kind of contracts you're trying to get. Um, then if you know that, man, go ahead and start using AI, start using ChatGPT, plug that contract into ChatGPT, and ask it the right questions. And if you ask it the right questions, man, you shouldn't really be struggling for a response. I'm actually going to talk about that as well. I'm going to talk about later on in the course. I'm going to talk about what you need to be dissecting from a solicitation to make a proper, to actually make a proper proposal for a contract. Now these this is something I ain't gonna say I didn't discover anything, but this is just what I um observed, and from my observations over the past 10 years, I look at approaching government contracting in two different ways. And in these two different ways, I feel like if you understand this, just understanding this should help your business tremendously. It should help your business go to the next level. Even if you're just getting into government contracting, you don't own a business, but you are interested in government contracting. If you understand these two different strategies, approaches, from what I feel like this should really, really help you. And the first one is what I would call supplemental business, which is niche. What this means is that you run a business full time and supplement a portion of your business to government contracting. Meaning let's just say like that barber contract. You're a barber, and then on Saturdays you have a contract cutting hair for the youth center. And government contracting is just something that you do pretty much on the side. Right here I give an example. You own a restaurant or a catering business that you provide a service to the public or the private businesses, but you also cater to local government events 3 times a year. So out of that 3 times a year, you're going to have that contract where you actually cater at these government events, and you know that catering to the government is 15% of your business income. So you know if you already run a business or you already have something that you do and you just want to supplement some of your income for government contracting, um, it's good to understand exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it. And so that is one strategy of approach with government contracting. And it's just to supplement. You're just supplementing what you're doing, and you really have something that you do full time. You have a business you do full time as a service, and you supplement it with government contracting. And of course, the other one is you provide a government service full time, any service. So, you're the kind of person that you just want to contract with the government. You don't care what service you provide, you don't care what you sell the government. You just want to make, service and contracts and writing proposals and getting contracts and doing subcontract. You want to make that your full time job. And it's nothing wrong with that. You're a business owner. You're 100% dedicated to providing any and all services to the government, whether it's catering, landscaping, debris removing, selling products. Your business is 100% depends on trying to obtain the next government contract. Of course, there's companies that do that. They even when you are government contracting full time, you have to use the middleman method, subcontracting method, to obtain a contract, because I might be in Dallas, Texas, and if I see a contract in Chicago, you know, I'm not going to be able to physically do that. So of course I'm going to have to subcontract or middleman that contract out. But those are two different approaches to government contracting. And when coming into government contracting, you have to understand your position. And there's a reason why you have to understand your position and what you're trying to do, because if you cross the two, you're gonna start having issues. And I'm gonna explain those issues. But the pros of actually supplementing your business income with government contracting is you will have stronger relationships and subcontracting opportunities, meaning people know you for what you do. In the city of Dallas, I know a lot of contracting officers they know me for doing logistics work. Even the process server contract I have right now, I only got it because it was listed on the courier service, and they sole sourced it to me. They reached out to me and said, "Hey, I know that you do courier services. This is not quite courier service, but you do some drivers. Can you do the contract?" At that point in time, I really didn't have a process server certification, but I went and obtained the certification just to get the contract. But after I got the contract, I ended up hiring somebody else to do it anyway. But it fell up under courier service. So being niched will have you stronger relationships and other people knowing exactly what you do. You really want contracting officers knowing exactly what you do, because when those contracts come up, so if you have a lawn service, if you do lawn service, if you have a lawn service business, you want the contracting officers around you. There's a contracting officer at every DI at every ISD, so every school district, every county, city, all of them have contracting officers, and you wanna be in touch with them. You wanna build relationships with them, whether it's going to events, email marketing. You got them in your CRMs. You definitely want to constantly talk to your contracting officers, and it's very good if they know your niche, because when those contracts come on their desk, you want them thinking about you. Um, the second one is you're locally known. And it's the exact same thing I was talking about. It's easier compliance, meaning when you get into those contracts, you know your field. When there's a courier contract or a logistics contract, any of those kind of contracts that come up, I know the compliances for those contracts. I almost feel like can't nobody tell me anything I don't know about it. So when those contracts come up, when it's time to create a proposal for them, I can create those proposals like that because I know that industry. And then you have well configured proposals. I could put my proposal for that together, and I can put it together pretty nicely. But let's go over to the pros of being a full-time any service. You don't really have a niche, but you're just trying to get any kind of contract. The pros of that is you have more contracting opportunities. There's going to be more contracts that you can jump on, because it really don't matter to you what kind of contract it is. Inside of your city, you might have, or let's just say your local school district might have 10 contracts right now. If you're the type of person that or you have the kind of business that only want to provide services directly to the government, it doesn't matter what kind of contract they can have a vending machine contract. They can have, it really don't matter, because what you're going to do the middleman strategy as far as in approaching those contracts. You're going to look for a subcontract. You're going to try to gain those contracts, try to find somebody that can do the contract while you basically take your money off top or in the middle, however you want to do it. You have more relationships. Now, there's a reason why I said more. I didn't say the other one. On the supplemental niche, you have stronger relationships. Now, on the full time, you don't care what kind of contract you do. You might have more relationships, but they tend not to be as strong. Um, Now you have higher earnings from contracting, and that's because you should be able to just look for contracts. You should be able to gain a contract. After you gain that contract, you should be moving on to the next contract and trying to gain the next contract. It should really be a never. You should almost never stop writing proposals and analyzing solicitations. That should be your full time job if you are full time. Any services, provide any service to the government. Um, Now the cons of both. Drag. What's this? Da, da, da. I'm still here. Okay. Now, the cons of supplemental niche and the cons of full-time any service contract. Supplemental niche, less opportunities. If you provide a courier service, when I say less opportunity, is that you might only have a courier contract come up in your area 3 4 times a year, and that's where it comes to, you have to be signed up at as many places as possible. So if I'm here in Dallas, Texas, and Mesquite ISD only have a courier contract 2 times a year, that's fine. They only have it 2 times a year, whether I get it or if I don't. But then Garland might have a contract come up 3 times a year. The city of Plano might have a contract come up 2 times a year. The city of Duncanville might have a contract come up 3 times a year. So you kind of get what I'm saying. It's less contracting opportunities, but you have to be signed up at a whole lot more places when you're niche down to just one niche. And usually you're only able to do local contracts. When you are very niche down, let's just say even if you're a barber, if you're a barber, you get a barber contract, you can't be a barber and I'm in Texas and I'm trying to get a contract in Florida or I'm trying to get a contract in California unless I plan on flying or something like that. So when you're very niched down, the con is you're going to have less contracting opportunities. So there's pros and cons. But the con of doing full-time any service is you have weaker relationships. You're constantly looking for contracts. But I mean, if you're constantly looking for contracts, that might be a con, but that's kind of what you signed up for anyway. Once you know that you're going to be full-time looking for contracts, as well as in you have a higher risk of subcontracting with the wrong company. When you the type of company that you just trying to get contracts no matter where, and that means you're always looking for a subcontractor in every city, every place you go to, you're looking for a subcontractor. That raises your chances of dealing with the wrong people. To be honest, if you're looking for a subcontractor, if I'm looking for a subcontractor in Chicago, or let's choose them in Memphis, and let's say I'm looking for a subcontractor in Memphis, and I get him on the job, and then 2 weeks into the job, he quits for some odd reason or let's say he's doing a contract with the local city. He goes into the local city and he steals some TVs. I'm on that contract with him. You know what I mean? So those it's more high risk when you're dealing with trying to do full time any service when it because you're just establishing relationships in and everywhere. You're not really taking out the time to really vet the businesses that you're dealing with. I'm not saying it's not possible because of course there's people that do middleman, but if you are middleman and if you are subcontracting, you're getting contracts in different places, you have to do a whole lot better job at vetting the people that you subcontract with. Um, both opportunities are good. Both opportunities are good, but you see that but, right? Now, this is usually where the issue comes in. The issue comes in, or issue happens when you try to combine the two without analyzing your environment, your capability, your finances, and your life situation. Now, I had to say this for a reason because remember what the two different approaches are. You know, remember what the two different approaches supplemental niche and then full time. The issue happens when, let's just say, prime example, you want to start a courier business and you want to get into government contracting, but you live in an area that's destitute, meaning there's no contracts in that area. So, you're very niched inside of a area that don't have contracts, and it's a niche that's hard to let's say get other carriers or get other people to jump on, especially if you're doing local. So if you're saying, hey man, I only want to do courier contracts, I want to do them myself, I only want to, and I'm local, and I ain't got no money, you're gonna have a hard time finding contracts because you already done counseled most of the contracts that you even able to do because you're really trying to combine the two. You're niche down in the area, and I feel that if you are in the area, this is something that you really have to analyze if you really want to get into government contracting. I'm in the city of Dallas. In the city of Dallas, I can be niched in the city of Dallas because there's opportunity all around me in Dallas. There's opportunity everywhere. There are so many sub cities around me. I really don't even have to leave out of my city. Or I can go over into Houston. And there's a lane in between Dallas to Houston, Dallas to Austin, to San Antonio, to Waco. Just in this area, I can kind of be niched a little bit. But let's just say if you in backdoor Arizona somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and you saying I only want to do a courier contract, you're gonna have a hard time. And when you inside of those areas, it might be better for you to be a full-time any service contractor that's looking for contracts anywhere. And then on top of that, it don't matter what kind of contract it is. You just trying to get a contract. So the issue is when you're doing one or the other and you try to combine the two, it just doesn't work. So if you are niched down, and you're trying to, like another one, if you do hair, if you let's go to something else. Let's go, if you have a janitorial service, but you're trying to do a janitorial service in another state. But I'm not saying that it's not possible. That's just when I tend to see more issues when you're trying to be very, very niched. But you just have to put a little bit more into it, and it is possible. But that's when I see people have a hard time. Or it might be a situation where they're not working and they need to have a job, so they're trying to jump on the government contracting, and they're just trying to combine the strategies, and it's just not going to work. So most definitely, I believe that if you're coming into government contracting, you just need to know how you want to approach government contracting. Either you want to do it full time and you look for contracts anywhere, or you need to be niched down in the beginning, at least till you get your feet up, and you need to be trying to do local until you build up at least enough background, or at least enough, you build your resume enough to where you can actually do bigger contracts. But that's just what I believe. No, there is no right, there is no wrong, but that's just what I've noticed. Um, what about a notary? Yeah, I've seen notary contracts. How long does it take to complete my course? It's self-paced. Some people try to rush through it in a week, and some people may, take a couple of months, maybe up to 3 months. Um, you know, check out your free Apex Center and A2Z Training. What Apex, I've said that in a past video before. Apex does have a lot of resources. But of course, sometimes, you just, it's good to have somebody in the Apex office that has experience. Usually when you're dealing with somebody new, they don't really know, but Apex is definitely a good resource that I tell people to go, man. Go to your local Apex, because they will know what's going on in your city and state. And they, most of the time, they know what the forecast is and what contracts are actually coming up. Um, these are just other reasons that I've seen people not have success, which is, of course, just don't 100% understand the industry that they're in yet and its market trends. Just like right now, if you're in trucking, you know, if you've been in trucking, right now, January, February is a slow season, and during the slow season, this is what we consider contracting season. So as a trucking company, this is a time where you need to be building relationships. And so when people don't know their industry that they're in or the market trends, you might have people that start in their business right now and not being able to grab freight or move how they want to do it. It's just because they just don't know the industry yet. And the next one is they give up too early. I've talked to too many people in government contract, and they just gave up way too early. They didn't give it a chance. When I say way too early, meaning that they submitted one, two, three contracts, and then they threw in the towel. And to be honest, until you build your relationships up, it's, I can't say that. I can say that, but I've seen people get contracts on the first go round, and I've had it happen a lot. Those are anomalies. For those people that have gotten contracts on their very first contract, I tell them that's not normally the norm. Usually, you have to put in a little bit of work, and so usually when I see people fail at government contracting, it's just because they quit. To be honest, they didn't really understand that it takes more than submitting one proposal, two or three proposals. I want to say that if I was to look at my success rate in government contracting, I would probably say it's probably almost 2 out of 10, 1 out of 5. Usually I'm going for contracts that I know I'm going to get, but even with those, depending on how competitive that contract is, it's usually 1 out of 5 that I notice that I will actually obtain the contract. So, and that's me with experience. So you just got to look at it like this: if you gain in 1 out of 5 contract, or even let's just say if you are obtaining 1 out of 20 proposals that you submit, submit 100 of them. You know, submit as many as you need to submit. Um, he said he has seen those type. Yeah, I've seen those kind of contracts. So don't give up too early. That's usually you only fail when you give up. That's what it is, man. You could lose 10 contracts in a row. If you gave up on your 10th time, you failed. On that 11th proposal, if that hit, guess what? Now you succeeded. So I only see people fail because they give up. That's really it. And I can't even say 10 times because usually if a person tells me that they're not having success, I usually can ask them how many proposals have they submitted, and it's almost always less than three. Always less than three. So they gave up really early, and they might have went out and registered their business. They might have got their set aside certifications. They might have everything set up just right, and they put a lot of money in behind setting their business up just right. But when it came to actual proposal writing or analyzing solicitations, that's where they dropped the ball at, just right there. And I do have a few people that I'm mentoring right now, and they are doing. I mean, they doing real good. But you know, and for the ones that have already previously had training, I could say that they had training, but I have to step in and pretty much help them the rest of the way. It's usually just to analyze the solicitation and being consistent about submitting proposals, and then that's when they're having their success. What about pre-solicitations? Those are good. If if I have nothing else going on, I will go ahead and submit a pre-solicitation, or if it's just a request for a quotation. Those are sometimes good to, you know, that's when that agency is they're just kind of really doing a market research. Those aren't really promises for a contract. They just trying to see what's out there. They are really fishing when they put out those requests for quotations. But you know, is is your mentorship still open? I might take one or two more people, but I'm not trying to put too much more on my plate, to be honest. I really try to save for the people that if anybody's in here in my one-on-one training, or inside of my one-on-one mentorship, that we're gonna talk. I put my schedule up for you guys, and to be honest, the downside about coaching is I can only spread myself but so thin. But what I'm gonna do, if I do take one or two more people, I'm gonna have to close it down and just handle them maybe for the next 12 weeks, and then when that group of people rotate out, maybe I might rotate some more people in. But I can only take so many people at one time. Um, Now, other issues, one person team. Another thing when I see people not having success is because sometimes some people can't help this part. They may be a one person team, but if they refusing to delegate, or if they ain't got the finances to delegate, it could be a lot when you're trying to just do everything on your own. You're the person that's trying to take the phone call. You're the person that's trying to answer the emails. You're trying to write the solicitations, or you're trying to analyze the solicitations. You're trying to write your proposal. But if you got, especially if you're a truck driver, you know, my trucking companies have the hardest time, especially if you're a one man team, because you're trying to drive the truck, you're trying to dispatch yourself, you trying to maintain your business and pay your bills, and now you done added on trying to get a government contract, and you're trying to analyze solicitation. So usually, when they fail, it's only because it's only one of them, and they really need to delegate some of the work. And if you could just delegate some of the work, and I know this one from personal experience because it wasn't until I got out of the truck until I started seeing my business go to another level. So I literally had to get out of the truck to start having some success and start paying people. And now I'm the type, I pay people for everything. Like if it's I done got lazy if anything now, because I'm whatever kind of task it is, I'm trying to pay somebody. Right now, doing the coaching, one-on-one coaching, is the only thing that that's actually taking up my time that I'm not delegating, because we're doing one-on-one. If I could find a way to delegate that, I would. You know what I mean? But no, other than that, man, delegate as much as possible, save your time. But and then they'll just say the administration needs improvement, meaning that you know they're not checking emails. I want to say probably about a year and a half ago. Year and a half ago, I had a guy to actually got awarded a contract. He didn't know till a month and a half later because he doesn't check his emails. So he literally went, but by the time he checked his email, it was already gone. He only had like 7 days to reply. But it was a month and a half later that he realized. He called me and said, "Hey man, I actually got that contract, but it was a month. Like, who should I call him back? What I need to do?" I'm like, man, that opportunity gone. So administration needs improvement. So some people just don't have success just because they just need to do better with their emails, situating their finances, and setting up their financial statements. Just that paperwork. And I see a couple people I heard to say that we have a two-person team right now. Man, that's what you need. The two-person team. That's why when I get people that have a team, if they come to me with a team, I know they have a higher chance of success, because that's four eyes, two brains, and going into the business. When I see a married couple, I just know this is about to get ready to be a story of success because with most married couples, it's going to be he taking care of this portion, she taking care of that portion. I can get them a task, and it's almost like it's not even double the time; it's almost quadruple the time. So every situation that I see where it's a team or a couple, they usually do very good. So you know, um, I really like those. Now this is the homework for the night. The homework for the night is you ain't got to do it tonight, but by the next time we have a live, I'm gonna ask you some questions about this movie, War Dogs, and I'm not gonna say too much about the movie for those who haven't watched it. But these guys gained a contract with Department of Defense, and I'm gonna have some questions about this movie, and you know, some things from this movie that you need to take away from, and then there are some things from this movie you need to learn some lessons from. And one of the lessons is what I talked about. As far as matter of fact, I ain't gonna say what the lesson is because I don't want you guys cheating. When I come back next time, I'm gonna ask you guys a few questions about this movie, and you're gonna learn some things from it. And I really want you to take it from it. But they actually gained a government contract. But that actually wraps up government contract and one-on-one for the day. Today, like I say, was just an overview. Next class, we're going to really start diving into the FAR. We're going to start diving into the regulations, the different departments and their regulations. We're going to start diving into the different terms and government contracting. Eventually, I want to, even though this is a one-on-one, just something I'm doing for free. That's just a government contract in 101. By the time we get to the end of this 101, I want you to feel at least confident enough to do your local contracts. You know, I mean, to the point to where you should feel pretty secure in just approaching it, having your business right. You got everything is structured correctly. You're ready to go into government contracting right. Because even if one day one of you guys say, you know what, Brian, I want some one-on-one mentorship, and you done took somebody else's program before. One thing that I hate is having to backtrack you in your business because it takes so much time. It takes a lot of time when you've learned a lot of bad habits or a lot of things that's not real from somebody else, and then we got to go back and start backtracking a lot of information. Or now it's going to take a week or 2 weeks out of the mentoring program just because now we got to change your business up again. We got to redo your address. So we have to, we just have to restructure everything just because it just wasn't done right the first time. So that's really it. Remember, the homework is what dogs. Now, I'm thinking I'm gonna do live. What's today? Tuesday. I might go live maybe again on Friday. I don't know. People like to party on Friday, so I don't know. I like to party on Friday. Let me see. We'll choose. Is Friday a good day for us to come back? We're talking about A2Z Training Ultra is $78, then $23 a month. Cancel whenever you want. One-on-one, one-on-one consultations. That's only if I talk to you and I feel like we're a good fit. But we would have to talk. But that's really $1,500 for 12 weeks. But I don't accept everybody. To be honest, I've probably turned down. Like I was calculating from, of course, I charged $1,500 for 12 weeks, but I've already turned down like 10 people. And I was calculating, I was like, man, that was like $15,000 I done shut down. But to be honest, if I don't feel like I can help you, then ain't no point in me taking your money. If I don't feel like you gon' actually get something out of the program, then there's no point. And then sometimes you don't need a lot, And I've told people that have tried to get one-on-one training, like, man, you only need one or two different things, and we can cover that in one or two consultations, and you don't even need no one-on-one training. You just needed this and this fixed, and I can help you from there. But you go into a party once you get your first contract. Oh yeah, man, you definitely got a party. You know, um, me, I really kind of like to sit back and chill to myself and try to save as much money as possible because I like to party outside the country, man. I'm gonna save my ducks up and I'm gonna leave the country, man. And I'll stay gone for a couple weeks. Y'all will never know that I was gone, but it said no, not Friday, Thursday, next Thursday. Yeah. So yeah, I would love to see all of y'all go. Do we have to maintain insurance for FEMA prior to being rewarded? The second that you actually get into FEMA, um just to even get in with FEMA, you have to meet their insurance requirements, which their cargo insurance is three hundred $1,000 worth of cargo insurance. And you have to maintain that the whole time because if you drop your cargo insurance, FEMA's gonna drop you. And that's just is what it is. What about SBA? We're gonna talk about SBA, Small Business Administration, and the what they have for you guys and the opportunities as far as in mentorships. If your business is already 2 years old, you already been filing W-2s. Your business already have some sort of a track record, and you want to get into government contracting, you definitely need to get on that AA certification. Uh, I have myself. Okay, that's congratulations. That's what's up. Don't be gone too long. We locked in, coach. Oh yeah, we definitely locked in. Um, what I'll do? I'll do another survey for when we should have the next live class. I know people like to party on the weekends. I don't know. Maybe we should do maybe Sunday night. If we do Sunday night, that'd be cool for me. I work for myself. I don't gotta go to work. I'm, I'm, it's all on y'all schedule to be honest. But during the day, thank you. I'll be in Vegas tomorrow. Oh, that's what's up, man. Have a blast while you out there. What about rates? How much to bid? Will you cover that later? Oh yeah, I'm gonna go over the cost of operation, understanding your business, market research. For no matter what business that you are in or what you're trying to do, you really need to understand the cost of operation. And even if you got to walk away, because there's times I walk away from a lot, especially within the last past couple of years. Just even in the trucking industry been upside down, and I'm the type of guy, I stick to my rates. I don't care what the business say. I charge my prices, and my prices are my prices because I got people that I'm paying. I got insurance that I gotta pay. Everything that I do pay for is quality stuff. So I got quality insurance. I got people that work for me that take care of their families. And well, I can't even say work for me no more because most of the people that's up under me are owner operators. But do you still do I'm in a government contract right now. Um, oh, you right, Jackson. Oh yeah. So but yeah. So I mean, anybody got any really important questions to ask me right now before I go off this live? Um, Super Bowl Sunday, Mr. B. Oh, that is Super Bowl, huh? Yeah, you right. Okay, we're gonna have to change it up. Maybe Monday. Maybe we'll do it next week Monday. You know, what percentage do you take out for yourself when you middleman? You know what? If I middleman something, I'm going to take out maybe 5%, and even maybe a little. I know some people might take out a bigger percentage, but I even talked about this inside of my program in the freight broker section. I talked about being a broker and taking out as minimum as possible. I take out. smaller percentages because what I'm looking for is quantity. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to get as much as I can out of one contract. I want a lot of contracts that I take a little bit out of. And I've also seen with that that if I pay people more, I have a high likelihood of them actually doing the work, you know. So, in any contract that I'm in that or any contract where there's somebody taking out 20, 30, 40%, man, they're always having to, go through different contractors, and all they steady having to maintain keeping that contract going. But for me, I don't mind. I don't mind. Sometimes I don't mind giving somebody all of the money out of it. To be honest, if a situation happen, I've had situations happen where I take out 5% of that contract, and then the person that's on the contract go through some sort of mechanical issues. Their money falls short for whatever reason, and then I'll let them know like, hey man, just here, you can have my 5%. Just make sure you stay on this contract. You know, get you back right. Do you dispatch for box trucks right now? I don't dispatch at all. Um, you know, I've I've thought about doing dispatching before, but nah, man, I really don't want to because I'm very precise about, I really analyze what kind of businesses I want to do because I don't want to get into too much of something that's going to take my time. I'm at, I may be 40 years old. I'm not old, but I've been working, driving trucks and everything for like the last past 20 years, So in the last past 20 years with me constantly working, trying to put money to the side, I'm at the point of my life right now where I don't, you know, it's almost no amount of money. I've literally turned down jobs that wanted to pay me six figures because I felt like it was going to take up too much of my time. Right now, the most important things to me is my time. And, so certain contracts, I'm just not going to get in if it's going to take up so much of my time or if I feel like I can't get nobody else to do the work. The goal is freedom. Most definitely the goal is freedom. I'm at the point of my life where I just want to invest what I've earned. I got my partners, they in the real estate, they got other things going on. I want to put money in what they doing, get my little kickbacks from that, you know. You know, got my little contracts going. I get my little I take a little piece of a lot basically, And for me, that's the American dream. You know, you need USPS contracts, keep up a third truck. I mean, all you got to do is sign up at your regional office, sign up at COPA, get in contract with your district, the contracting office in your district, and see what contracts they have available. Inside of A2Z Training Ultra, I do have, I think I got like two or three different USPS contracts in there that I go over, and I literally break down how to actually do the math as far as in, how they have it structured off in there. But USPS contracts, when you're getting them direct, they're usually gonna pay $4 to $6 a mile. Yeah, do I offer consulting? Yeah, I do one-on-one consulting. You can follow the link in my bio. It goes to my website. Scroll to the bottom, and you're gonna see one-on-one consulting, and you can book a time, or you can just go to my website A2ZFR8.com. Go to the resources page. Once you get to the resources page, scroll towards the bottom. You're gonna see one-on-one consulting. It's COPA free. Yes, COPA is free. You just have to get an approval after you sign up at USPS. So once you sign up as a vendor with USPS, you mail. I don't know if they mail anymore. I signed up. When I signed up, we had to email it in. I think it's digital now. That that make me sound old. This is digital now, but I believe you can sign up with them now just directly on their website. And after you sign up on their website, they're going to send you an email letting you know that you've been approved for COPA. And then once you get approved for COPA, you finish the rest of the registration inside of there. Then after that, you're going to want to talk to your regional office and just make sure in the United States, there's a region. What are the United States map? Okay, right there. So let's just say United States, there's a region over here, a region over here, region, and there's a region. So if you in this area, there's going to be an office over here, and if you in this region, there's going to Dallas. I actually just so happen to live in Dallas, and in this region right here, the office in Dallas is actually in Dallas. But whatever region that you're in, there's a regional office, and you got to find the actual contracting officer there. And whenever they have contracts available, they'll email them to you. And you just got to make sure you're paying attention to your email, and then you're gonna reply to the solicitation via COPA. You know, user registration. Do I need to change? Yeah. Unfortunately, because even I used to preach the registered agent for your business, up until I got the notification from IRS that they no longer even accept the registered agent. So you got two different choices, and I'm going to talk about that in later videos, but I'll go ahead and just run it to you right now. Um, it's either you need to use your home address for your business or your LLC, or you need to use a shared office, something that where they actually can keep your paperwork at. And the reason why you're going to really want to do that, especially now, is because even when you get in the certifications, whether you're minority owned, women owned, veteran owned, they are going to want to either A, come to your place of business and just visit you and talk to you about the certification, or they might actually want you to video your office. So if you're doing it from home, you won't have no issue. But if you have a virtual office and and things aren't matching up, then you're gonna have a hard time, especially if you go deep into government contracting and then you get to like doing military freight. Like if you're using a registered agent or a virtual address and you trying to do anything with the military, you might as well go ahead and cancel that. They ain't finna deal with you. They'll even mail you a postcard that has a code on it that it has to be you have to actually let them know what the code is on that postcard, and they're gonna mail it to you. And if it get forwarded, meaning if it get mailed to one location, and then from that location it get mailed to the next location, the second time that it goes to through the mail, the second time it's gonna actually set off an alert and it's gonna close your account. So you know, if your virtual office actually has an office, um and they actually keep your paperwork there, then I'm gonna say no to virtual addresses just because I've seen it. I'm steady having people get hit with the whole virtual office thing. But if you have a virtual office that actually has a shared physical office, and you can actually go there to that office and you can receive mail to that location, and after receiving mail to that location, you can actually set meetings and everything there. I'm gonna say maybe, but to be honest, I'm gonna say nah. It's just too much of a risk, and the reason why is because what's happening with the virtual offices is that there's a lot of scam companies that's coming up. Just like there's like I got like 50 or 20 different scam pages of my TikTok. There are people that's creating scam businesses, and they are using virtual addresses. So if your address gets associated with their address and it gets known to be a virtual address, it'll shut your business down too. And not even just dealing with the government. If you have a trucking company, you're not doing nothing with the government and you using a virtual address, and it just so happened to be somebody that's doing something at the same time at that address, it can affect your business as well. I had a guy just recently. The company wasn't doing no scamming or anything. He just had a virtual address, and then at the exact same virtual address, somebody started a freight brokerage company. So that freight brokerage company address got tied to his address, and it made it real difficult for him now to get loads because they was thinking that was the same company. So you know, man, it's the virtual address thing just gotten too hot, man. And you know, I don't know who you beefing with, or Osama bin Laden, to where you can't, use your home address. If you ain't got ops like that, you really shouldn't be worried about your home address, man. Like, or find somebody locally that has, an address that you can go to, and and have a negotiation about actually using the office at their location or something, man. But if you ain't beefing with nobody like that, man, ain't nobody looking for you. Nobody checking for you, coming to your house, man. Some of y'all be doing too much, man. But other than that, man, uh, any other real questions before they say home address not professional? They say, man, I used a home address, and I've had high credit limits with home addresses. I've never said a bank say I've never heard a bank look at one of my home addresses and say, this ain't professional. I'm not I'm not finna give him no money. Like, man, they'll say anything. You know what I mean? Anything to make it sound like they know what they're talking about. And to be honest, you know, um, I understand the thought of it not being professional, but to be honest, I've literally had people in the bank tell me that they would rather see your home address, versus a virtual office. And you got to think, like, really think about it. If you wanted to give somebody some money, you in the bank, and they asking for $200,000, right? You at least want to know where they at, right? You want to know where they reside, don't you? I know me. If I loan you some money, I'm gonna be on you. And if you tell me the wrong address, I'm gonna be sitting here thinking you trying to run off on a plug. So, to be honest, they would rather see your home address than just a fake address. It ain't fake address; it's a virtual address. But you know, it's easier to run off on a virtual address, and that's just me keeping it real. I can say whatever they say, but to be honest, man, like, as far as in like structuring the business and all that, that whole virtual address, to be honest, got played out in like 2015. So when people talking about it right now, they just regurgitating other stuff that they didn't heard on YouTube, man. But you know, so basically, I need to change my address to my LLC on my LLC. I mean, if you don't want to be held up later, if you don't want to find if you trying to sign up at Sam and you want to know why you keep getting denied, and and the thing is, some people been using the same virtual address for so long, and they've been skating by, and it's been working for them. But the thing is that as soon as they flag that address, man, you don't want to see, and I've had it happen. Like I say, this conversation has been consistent for the last past couple years, but it has really gotten hot within the last past few weeks with the whole virtual address, man. And I actually made a video on TikTok where I said a couple weeks ago, I had a guy to actually gain a contract. He been signed up with Sam for years. He just never actually had a contract. But as soon as he got with me, he got his contract. I don't know if they must have threw a flag or what it did, because as soon as he got that contract, right after he got the contract, Sam actually closed his account because his address was flagged as a virtual address. So somebody says happened to me, like it's literally it's happened to people, So and it's happening. It's constantly happening now, and I honestly feel like, as far as in, I mean, I'm not at online paying attention to a lot of other people, but I must be the only person that's telling people not to have a virtual address, because everybody I talk to have a virtual address. And like I say, I've had people in my mentorship program where the first couple of weeks, instead of us being able to move forward, we got to go back and redo all their paperwork, because I don't want to happen. I don't want what happened to the last guy to happen to anybody else, where we actually get a contract, we celebrating, we popping bottles, man, you done got your contract, and then this thing, his whole account and everything. I don't want that to happen to nobody else. So I'm not the only one. Good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. More people need to get that word out. And if somebody out there still preaching virtual address, that's just because they really just probably not doing business for real. To be honest, and that just is what it is. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up, man. It's 10:23, and you guys have a good night. One last question. Any real questions? I don't see no real questions. I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all log off. Why can't you use your home address if that's where your office is? You can use your home address. Definitely use your home address, you know. But y'all have a good night, and this was a good first go round for me. So first time going live, I felt like it went good, and hope to see you guys again. And I'll make another video, um, doing like a video just asking y'all what day should we do, but maybe next week Monday. That sounds good to me. And but definitely that movie War Dogs. Make sure you guys go back and you actually watch that movie because we're going to talk about that movie, and I'm going to actually ask you guys questions about that movie. And it's a good movie overall, but it's a good homework assignment too. But other than that, man, y'all have a good night. All right.